John Liu covers the Jets for TSN and, of course, the Blue Bombers as well. And he joins us today to discuss that game and other things. They got a question coming for John, a bit of a curveball that I know he can handle. He's a smart guy. But today, John, everybody must be happy in Winnipeg. Back on track, I would think.
Yeah, Rod, they were happy on Saturday night, too. That win over the Penguins that snapped that 5-game winless streak. And wouldn't call either of these two wins because they were such close games and low-scoring games, tight margins against one of the lower-ranked teams in the league last night, second last place in the league, and the Penguins are sort of a bubble playoff team. So not exactly, the Jets still aren't looking like they did at their dominance themselves in the better part of the first half of the season, especially through November and December. But when people ask me about it, I just sort of chalk this up to really what I see is kind of the inevitable ebb and flow of any team in an NHL season. And I'm talking contending teams, good teams. They'll all go through stretches like this. We saw the Vegas Golden Knights lose several in a row. Colorado, I think, is currently 4 lost in a row. All the good teams go through this, and it's really, are they going to be peaking at the right time? And are they going to go through these stretches of adversity and overcome them at the right time? So certainly no sense of panic with the Jets right now. I mean, they just need to tidy things up a little bit in their own end, because there are some things in their 5-on-5 game that have been slipping a little bit, not significantly so. But the fact that they're going through this just past the halfway point of the season is probably a positive for them. If they were doing this in late March, then there'd be serious cause for concern within Jets Nation. But at this moment there, I think they're just working through some things that are kind of endemic in the dog days of winter.
Well, I'm smiling because you say no panic with the Jets, but that's different than the fans. And to be honest, when the Jets lose 2-3 in a row, I head for the hills. I don't even open my phone because I got a lot of friends there, and it's insane. My question to you that I said that you weren't going to be prepared for was, who's more riddled with anxiety, Jets fans or Habs fans, because you spent so much time in both cities?
Habs fans, without hesitation. I mean, the swings, the emotional swings, and the intensity of the peaks and valleys are much higher with Canadiens fans. Part of it is cultural, because the Quebecers, the French, are very emotional people. It's one of the things that I love about them, and it's one of the things that drives me crazy about them. and because the Canadiens are a religion. They are the religion, because the Catholic Church just is in so much in decline in the province of Quebec. The Canadiens are Quebecers' religion, and so the passion, but the vitriol that you see, feel, and hear when they're going through bad times, it's astounding. And I mean, to watch it from afar is one thing, but to be living in it is an entirely different matter. And I don't think I've ever witnessed or experienced a fan base that goes from the highs to the lows, often within the same period, the same game, much less a season or off season. And so, and that doesn't mean to say the Jets fans are not passionate, because they certainly are, but there are fewer of them. The Canadiens fan base is massive, just like Toronto's. And just the nature of the fan base, of the demographics, makes them a little bit crazier. And certainly, coming here, I knew that Jets fans love their team, that there are going to be emotional swings, the highs and lows. But when I'd have gotten through the better part of a season and had a large enough sample size, I could really tell that there is a big difference in the fan bases, and that doesn't mean to say Jets fans aren't, that they're really, really good fans. They're really smart and intuitive and savvy, knowledgeable hockey fans. But when you talk about the emotional component of it, the Canadiens fans they're a step and above over pretty much every fan base of any sport or team that I've witnessed.
I love the answer, and I love the fact you didn't even have to think about it. You were like,
no,
never.
Oh, truly. I could work another 13 years here to match my 15 years in Montreal, and I'm sure I'd feel the same way. unless the Jets won a Stanley Cup and the expectations got elevated, and it took the, I guess the way the fans would react, the way that they would interact with the team might go to a different level. But no, seriously, it's for me, it's always going to be Montreal in that category.
I'll ask you this, and maybe you get asked about it every day because Winnipeg's your hometown, so you've got a lot of family around, but you seem really happy with this move. Montreal to Winnipeg. Montreal's Canada's Vegas, man. There's a lot going on there. I was surprised that you left, but has it been as good a move as it looks for you?
For me personally, absolutely, Rod. Yeah. The simplest way I can put it is that I never thought that I'd have the opportunity to do what I love in my hometown. And I'm not going to go into all the reasons why I was motivated to come back, because there are myriad, and a lot of them are personal. But just the fact that I get to that I'm hosting the games is a big step up for me, and in terms of my duties in my career at this stage of my career. I wasn't able to do that in Montreal, although I wanted to. So the opportunity wasn't in Quebec for me, and so coming back here, getting to host Jets games in my backyard with all my family, my small family, and friends that I grew up, friends that I used to work with in my previous career, friends that I went to school with. There's no better feeling for me. So yeah, when you say that your perception is that I'm happy with it, it's like I'm over the moon. I'm absolutely loving it, and it's really rejuvenated my passion for what I do.
Well, I can see that. I mean, I have a secondary career in mental health and addiction recovery. I can read body language. I can see that you're happy. But it's interesting how our lives go, because I, in my hometown, did what I wanted for a half a century. And I got to the top and then left. I'm like, there's nowhere to go but down from here. So let's go try something else. It's the exact opposite of what you've done, and we're both extremely happy. That's what you like. I can't let you go without asking this. How's the Monahan trade worked out, and B, are the Jets done here leading up to the trade deadline?
I'll start with, are the Jets done? And I don't believe they are. Right now, they only have really 7 NHL defensemen on their active roster, and their 7th defenseman, Logan Stanley, he doesn't have a lot of playoff experience, only 8 games. And when you talk about a team that really has designs and hopes on going for a deep run, well, you're going to need much more depth in your defensive core. We've seen it time and again. And just looking at the composition of their defense, they could use a little bit more experience, more toughness. A guy that's a genuine stopper that hasn't necessarily won a cup, but has gone deep once or twice, that knows how to play in the playoffs, that knows how to get ready for it, and is built for the grind. So somebody that's, tough, big, that ideally can contribute on one or both special teams, ideally a right-handed shot, because the Jets could use another righty on their blue line. Moving to the Monahan trade, he's only been in the lineup for 3 games so far. So the Jets are 2-1. He hasn't made an impact per se. Certainly not on the power play. That's one thing the Jets absolutely have to get sorted out, is their special teams, especially power play. It is really, really struggling, and it's been a season-long problem. So I don't know if they would necessarily go outside the team to try to address that situation, because the thing is, it defies logic when you have the Stars, the caliber of talent that they have in both units, that they can't score with any sort of regularity or consistency, or at least generate pressure with the man advantage. So I think my feeling is that they're going to continue to try to find solutions in-house in that regard, whether it's personnel or systems, and that's under Brad Lauer, assistant coach Brad Lauer's umbrella. But Monahan was brought in. Power play was one of his specialties. He hasn't contributed in that regard yet. At 5-on-5, when I asked Rick Bowness yesterday about what he's seen in terms of progress, certainly at even strength with Monahan between his wingers. Cole Perfetti's been the consistent winger, even though it's only been 3 games. But they switched it up. He had Nikolai Ehlers for starters, and then for the last 2 games, Gabriel Velarde has been on his right wing. They haven't quite found chemistry yet. They haven't meshed to the point that production has followed, but then again, you could say that for the whole team. If you look at the last 3 games, there hasn't been a lot of production across the board, even though they've won 2 of the 3 games. And so I think this is going to be a work in progress, certainly with Monahan. But I know the mixed feelings within the fan base. I see comments, I see fans that don't think particularly highly of Monahan as far as being a true defensive center. Because if you take a look at his Corsi numbers at 5-on-5, he's below 50%, right? So, I mean, from a possession standpoint, he's not controlling the majority of shots share at even strength. And so I think that's part of what fans don't like. But when you talk to people within the team, whether it's Rick Bowness or his teammates, they do like certain elements within the 5-on-5, whether it's forecheck, whether it's anticipation, his poise, his ability to make plays, his experience. He's a very good teammate. So, I mean, all those intangibles and some of the deeper metrics, we're going to need a larger sample size to determine what his impact's going to be in addition to the eye test and the production. So at this point, unfinished grade, Rod, but I think that the Jets still believe that they're a better team with Sean Monahan in the lineup than they were prior to the trade.
A wonderful report. I knew it would be. John, thanks for the time, man. Enjoy the hockey.
Thank you, Rod. Anytime. My pleasure.
TSN Winnipeg's John Liu.